folks, how are you? All right, this side okay. What's going on over here? Let's review the rules. We are in Las Vegas on a Saturday night at a comedy club. How you doing, folks? Awesome. Welcome to Delirious Comedy Club. Thanks for coming out tonight. We got a great show for you. Our resident headliner, Don Barnhart, is in the house. How about a nice round of applause for Don? Yeah, we're going to have some fun. All right, before we get going, who's got some big life events they want to talk about? Birthdays, anniversaries, you're not the father, what's up? Oh, is that why you're sitting right up front? And I'm sure that none of the other comics noticed and will comment on it all night. And look how you got your arms crossed. You're like, oh, man. You could have got me Bitcoin or some shit. You know, you didn't have to. All right, so where you from?
Alberta.
Canada? Yeah. Oh, God. I hate Canada. I think we should bring Trump back in office just to build a big wall on the right country. God. You know, Canada would be the place, right? Because you guys come in all, you know, highfalutin about, well, our health care is so much better than yours. We all have handguns and we don't kill each other. Yeah, go home. At least when, you know, they shouldn't have a wall in Mexico. At least when somebody comes over, I know I've got a slight chance of my lawn maintenance getting better. But nothing good comes out of Canada. Okay, done with that. Happy birthday. How about the rest of you guys? You have a good day today? Woo. Well, I had the best day today. I went to Staples today to see if they sold Staples. Tomorrow I'm going to Dick's. Oh, folks, I moved recently. I had to get some new running gear. I didn't know where to go. So I Googled Dick's near me. 10 minutes later, there's a line around the block in front of my house. I'm so traumatized I can't even think about getting cable. No way I'm going to Google how to get cocks in my house. But it's a great time to be in Vegas. We are right in the middle of our big money convention season. It's awesome. It starts with CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. I got to go this year. Spent most of my time with the driverless cars. This is fascinating, folks, because once you don't need a driver, you don't need a steering wheel, you don't need seats. Tesla has announced the future version of their car that will just have a mattress. Just the mattress option. Obviously, the hookers love this. Now you can get a Hummer and a Hummer. Rammed in a Ram, probed in a probe, an escort in an escort, an STD in an SUV. Wouldn't that be the greatest commercial? Are you looking for an STD in an SUV? Introducing the Ford Bareback. Last year's version of the big money convention season was awesome because almost all the shows came back live, all but one, the AVN Awards. The Academy Awards of Porn, folks. I was all set. They were going to have it at the brand new Virgin Hotel, and last minute they canceled. First time ever a bunch of porn stars pulled out of a Virgin. And of course they had to cancel. I mean, talk about a super spreader event. For those of you from out of town, and particularly Canada, if you want to get an idea about how much sex has been going on in your hotel room, go out and get one of those fluorescent crime scene lights. It'll look like the Blue Man Group got shot out of a wood chipper. There's a rumor that the Intel Corporation is about to introduce a new microcomputer chip that can be inserted into the human body and it will evaluate your health on a permanent basis. Isn't that stunning? But I don't like it. Something that monitors me 24 hours a day and tells me everything that's wrong with me? I already have a wife. It was her birthday a couple of weeks ago. I said, what can I get for you? She said, you know, this pandemic's been tough. All we've been doing is saving money. But things are better now. So how about this year? You get me something really expensive. So I got her a dozen eggs. This inflation's nuts. I was at my favorite gas station recently. I don't want to brag about how well my comedy career is going in front of 18 people, but I was filling up. And I watched this car pull into pump number 1. He gets $10 worth of gas. Gives him just enough gas to get to pump number 2. Now, I took my wife to go see Rod Stewart for her birthday. Oh, fantastic. Caesar's Palace. The man destroyed the place. And the night that we were there, he was celebrating his 78th birthday. I I even got to sneak some drugs into the show. It was like the old days, except now I'm old. So the drugs were X-Lax and Cialis. They hit at the same time, right in the middle of the show. I didn't know if I was coming or going. We went out to dinner before the show. We had chicken and waffles, and they served it with an authentic bourbon syrup. So authentic it had real bourbon in it, and they didn't tell us. My wife's been sober for 40 years. She gets wrecked on a half a waffle. We get to the show. She's trashed. She's like, "Hey, Rod, over here, look at me." I said, "Woman, you are in your 60s with arthritis. How did you get on my shoulders?" And I'm not one to nitpick, but you're not facing the stage. My whole face went numb. Num, 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 num. Me want cookie. Oh, I give her a hard time, but I love my wife. We've been happily married for 10 years, out of 30. She's my second wife. I was single for 12 years before I met her. I hated being single because I hated dating. But once I dated a girl who was 30 years younger than me. I didn't know I had that much money. And in a few weeks, I didn't. My friends gave me such a hard time. They'd say stuff like, "So what do you guys have to talk about? You don't know anything about SpongeBob." And the first time you invited her over to your house to have some fun, did she know you meant sex? Or did she think you were going to put her in front of the TV with a coloring book and crayons? Fine, say what you want. The sex was insane. I had no idea what was going on. One night she said to me, "Choke me, Daddy." So I gave her 2 biscuits from Popeyes and nothing to drink. Eventually, I met the woman who would become my wife. We had a magical first date. We went out to dinner. We had drinks. I remember sitting in the bar, gazing deeply into her eyes, and suddenly my hands got clammy. My heart started racing. And it was at that moment that I knew I had roofied the wrong drink. Later, we went back to my place. She spent the night, and she never left. And I know, you're looking at me going, this does not get girls. And I agree with you, but I have a secret, and I want to share it with you. Fellas, if you want a woman to spend the night at your place on the first date, you got to date the homeless. Oh, especially in the winter. God, if you've got even a little bit of heat in your house, she'll stay till spring. But my wife's great. She's super smart. She went to NYU. She's got 2 masters. I'm not one of them. Biggest problem we have in our relationship is she gives me a hard time about my shortcomings. You know, shortcomings. First time we were going to make love, she took one look at me and said, "So, what are your pronouns?" Obviously not he. All right, she's got a point. On a cold day, I have an innie. And I'm okay with all of it, except when she stands outside the shower and says, "Good God, did your ex-wife literally get half of everything?" I was telling that story the other week, and there was a girl right over here, about 19 years old. She yells out, "Hey, how old are you?" So I told her, "I'm 66. She said, "Then what are you doing talking about sex?" Really? What do you think happens when you get older? You collect your first Social Security check and your dick falls off? Hey, Social Security. Oh, man. Well, guess I don't need that anymore. I'm sorry, did I hit you? You have to declare that when you cross the border. I'll sign it later, but there's really no room. Maybe initials, just because I don't have a middle name. So I'm the father of 3. And 3 weeks ago today, I became a grandpa for the first time. Thanks. It was a tough time for her. It was a 43-hour labor. She had a hard time getting pregnant. She called me up one night, says, "We're going to try artificial insemination. So this year for my birthday, would you pay for our first treatment?" I said, "Absolutely not. No way I'm going into work right after your birthday. Somebody says, 'So, Did you get your daughter? Well, this year I tried to get her pregnant. We'll find out in a few weeks, fingers crossed. And this stuff's expensive. It's $800 a vial. And most of that goes to the donor. Fellas, you realize how much money we've let slip through our fingers? I got a $5,000 sock at home. If I'd known about this 40 years ago, I could have paid off my house in a week. Try it now, I'd be in foreclosure. But now, the easy part is done, carrying the baby. But now she's got to raise the baby in this environment? Oh my God, I got off easy. All I had to do is teach my kids about the birds and the bees. I got to teach them about the birds and the birds, the bees and the bees that want to be birds, the birds that used to be bees, but still have a stinger. Can't do it. All right, so I mentioned before my age. I would like to celebrate the fact as I'm wrapping things up here that I am 66 years old and I remembered everything. And I know, 66, not that old by today's standards, but things are starting to change. You know, at this point in life, friends with benefits is someone who can drive at night. Fun being able to do comedy later in life. Nobody can heckle me. It's illegal because it's not heckling. It's elder abuse. And that's a felony. It's all good, folks. Not everybody can go to a Rod Stewart show and say, I saw you in 78 and I saw you turn 78. All right, folks, that's my time. I'm Guy Fessenden. I get to be your host.